All right. We about to do this live broadcast, man. We a little, we a couple minutes late, but it's all right, man. Fashion's been late. That's how we do it, man. Live and direct, making moves, man. Slow money don't get no money.
That's
Easy
it.
doesn't do it easy,
That's it. And I'm all in my sick bag, so that's why I got on my Aunt Your Mama hat. You know what I mean? My wrap. Just had my surgery. I'm all in my sick bag, so that's why I got on my Aunt Your Mama hat. You know what I mean?
I hear echo, Mo. I hear echo over there, Mo.
What's up with the echo? I don't have a thing on.
I hear echo, Mo. I hear echo over there, Mo.
You want me to try again? Thing on.
Somebody got to double up. Hello.
You want me to try again?
Yeah. Somebody got to double up. Hello. Yeah. I don't think that's me. Hope not. I can hear something in the background. Hello. Mo, where you at?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
No echo?
No echo. We good.
We in the building.
Listen, man, live and direct. Y'all know what we do. We do it because it got to get done. We do it because it got to get done.
Got to get done.
I pulled Mo out the hospital for this one.
Baby.
I pulled Mo out the hospital for this one.
I'm on my codeine and everything, okay?
Listen, she got her hair wrapped on. She got a bedroom gown on.
You know,
Mo out the hospital for this one, man.
Yes, but I'm dedicated like that, so it's all good.
Listen, man, live and in technical color. Mo want to know.
I want to know.
Listen, man, it's a serious situation. There ain't no games. We ain't playing around, man. We ain't talking just to be talking. We talking because it's about something.
That's right.
Y'all know who I am, man. I'm a merciful man, Big Rod. Y'all know I'm in the building, man. But I'm with Mo.
That's it.
I'm with Mo, man. And last week, man, we really dug into some situations. We went a little deeper than we supposed to go deeper. We went a little personal, and that's how we do it. Because
that's how we do it.
We don't care. That's what y'all want. Y'all want personal.
Yeah.
So we get personal.
That's right.
Personal. Check in. We're not gonna jump right in because we want some people, make sure some people is on with us, man. So yeah, we're gonna vibe a little bit. We're gonna do a little current events, and before we dive into our main topic, we're gonna get a little current events and talk about a few things that have been going on, here and there and elsewhere. Big shout out to all the people out there, all the boroughs, man, all the United States of America and all over the world.
Yes.
We appreciate y'all rocking with us, checking in.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And I ain't gonna talk about too much more, man. Give them a little bit more.
So there's this pastor in Brooklyn that's been cutting up.
You going right at him like that?
Well, I don't know him personally. I'm hearing that, others might know him better than me.
Right.
But you can kind of, you know what I mean, gauge when it's bullshit and when it's real. And just by the banter and the interaction that he had with a young lady, and there was a homosexual gentleman that he was talking to, the three of them were on like a conversation together, like how we are right now. And it was just really inappropriate. The girl was heavyset and the guy was homosexual. And I can't remember, remind me his name, Louis.
The pastor?
No, the guy who does the interviews.
I don't forgot his name. I don't even know the kid's name, man. But
he does interviews on a regular. He interviews people, and he was interviewing a particular pastor, and in Brooklyn that claimed that he got robbed by a parishioner for $90,000 during his Sunday service.
Right.
I'm not here to judge, so no judgment zone. But what I will say is that it just didn't seem too, kosher. It just didn't seem kosher to me. And then he has this banter back and forth between the gentleman and the young lady, and they were asking him questions, and he just jumped right into something else. And I've learned that guilty people scream loud and don't talk about nothing. And that's really what he did.
His name was Larry Reed.
Larry Reid.
Right.
And he was going on about, they started talking about, and they were basically accusing him of bullshitting about getting robbed, and that it was basically a setup, and that he had his friends rob him and do this whole thing. And so he got angry. So that's a first telltale sign that you're guilty, because what you angry and screaming and hollering for. And so all of a sudden he just goes off, and the girl is fat and she looks like Benjamin Franklin, and the guy and the other guy who's interviewing him is I'm not gonna use the word, but you know that it's gay, so it's the F word for the gay people, disgusting word. You know, and that's not my thing. I like men, but I just think that certain things are inappropriate. And if you are a pastor and that's
Right.
the platform that you stand on, there's a way that you're supposed to behave yourself. You know what I'm saying? No, you're not perfect. No, you're not going to, walk down streets of gold and you ain't hit the pearly gates yet. But at the end of the day, there is supposed to be a certain way that you're supposed to conduct yourself as a pastor if you're saying you're leading the people of God. And I mean, he lost it. Y'all have to tune in and y'all have to look at it. Is it on Pushing Black? I think it's on Pushing Black.
Pushing Black, Media Takeout.
Media Takeout. Check it out on IG. It's just ridiculous. And there was this whole back and forth. And I was just like, listen, if you wasn't guilty, you making yourself look guilty now.
Somebody said a hit dog will holler.
That's how I couldn't think of it. A hit dog will holler. You doing all this here because you full of it. The guy was ugly. Talking about the homosexual guy. Oh, you ugly. And the girl is fat. And he was calling her Biggie. Now you ain't Biggie small, you Biggie big. And he was just doing too much. He was just doing too much.
Yeah, he was doing too much. He was doing too much.
I appreciate that. So, I mean, we shall see, because things are going to come to light. They always do. Whatever's done in the dark comes to light, and whatever don't come out in the wash, come out in the rinse. That's what my grandmother said, okay?
So a little background check on the dude, Big Core Love. Of course, they totally agree. Just a little background. The kid is from Brooklyn. He did a little standing in a light bid, got locked up for something, not too crazy. He did a little time in jail. He came home from jail, and he tried to be a rapper. He always tried to keep some flash about himself. He tried to be a rapper. His name is Bishop Lamont. Y'all can look him up. He tried to be a rapper first, and I don't think that didn't go too well. And then he tried to get into politics. So he got into politics with the current mayor before the mayor got picked up. So he was on the mayor's bandwagon, ripping and running with him, trying to get into the politic game with him. And he tried to rock out with him. That didn't work too tough. And next time we looked around, he was a pastor. And the pastor game must have been doing him good. Pastor game must have been doing him good because I don't know, And now this robbery or felonious robbery, which people are saying, felonious robbery done went down, and they say first it started at 400K. 400K got robbed. Then it went to 500K. Now they talking about $1 million worth of got arrested, got took from him. I'm like, well, how much got took, bro? Like, what's going on? And then now it's saying that I'm gonna read to y'all, so y'all don't think that we trying to pop up with some our own fabricated situation. Because sometimes they think we fabricating.
Check it out. It's on IG. It's everywhere.
Yeah, I don't want. Yeah, it's up everywhere. So I don't want nobody to think nobody fabricating nothing. You know what I mean? But this guy, now they're saying that this guy is that stole $90,000 from one of the individuals in his congregation. $90,000. This is what they're talking about. Like, boy, listen, man. Don't mess with God's people.
No, please don't. So that's the last thing you want to do.
And I don't think it's over. Over. Some other stuff gonna pop up, and it's like, what do you do? Like in these kind of situations, man, it's like, first of all, you in Brooklyn, in the hood. You ain't just in outskirts and Williamsburg. You in the hood.
Mm-hmm.
And you driving around Rolls Royce trucks and Bentleys and Maserati stuff, and you got all this jewelry on and rings, and you wearing Gucci, Louis, Prada every day around poor people.
That's what I don't get. And it's, to me, it's nothing wrong. You know, it's nothing wrong with Gucci. It's nothing wrong with Prada. I love a Gucci bag. I love a good Gucci bag with a matching pair of slides. But when I've had people call me and say they're hungry, or I have people call me and just out the blue and say that they need help or whatever it is, I'm gonna send it. You get what I'm saying? Because what is it good for me to be riding around, you know, in my Infinity, or you know what I mean, toting my Gucci bag and sliding around and slipping around in my Gucci slides, and I know somebody asked me for help, and I wouldn't help them, and I could. You know what I'm saying?
And you're not supposed to be dancing and prancing in front of poor people.
You're not. I don't think you are.
That's not how it go. Like, you got to have some compassion and have some respect.
Yeah.
You don't do that in front of poor people.
And let me tell you something. Wealthy people don't act like that.
Right.
So that's the difference between a rich mentality and a wealthy mentality. Wealthy people don't act like that. You seen Bill Gates before he died? He walked around with Skips and Kirkland jeans. If anybody don't know what Kirkland jeans are, Costco brand jeans, they be tight at the bottom. And they'd be baggy, and he would wear a regular old shirt, and you never knew that he made that much money. You wouldn't have ever known, because wealthy people don't parade around like that. They're not trying to keep up with the Joneses.
Yeah, you don't do that. It's just a level of respect that you try to give the people, and then you got the law of the land, man. You can't walking around like that and in the jungle and think you're not gonna turn into food if you're not feeding the wolves.
You're right.
If you're not feeding the wolves, you become food yourself.
You're right about it.
That's just what it is. Where I come from. If you're not taking time, you running around and thinking you on top of the world, and you ain't taking time to feed the wolves, you become food yourself.
That's the truth. That's true. Because they got to eat something.
They got to eat something. If you don't feed them, they're going to eat you.
They're going to eat you alive.
Ugly situation.
You're absolutely right.
It is what it is. What can we do, man? Like, you know, I pray that, you know, whatever come out, you know, whether it's right or wrong, it's up and down, like either he's cleared of his accusations, or he go down with the Titanic.
With the Titanic. Not the Titanic.
Go down with the Titanic, man. You know, either one. However you're gonna do it, either you rise like the sun or you go down with the Titanic. Bill Gates is still living.
You said what?
You said Bill Gates is still living.
I ain't mean Bill Gates. You know what I'm talking about. That man that did Apple. What a man name?
Steve Jobs. Yeah.
You know I'm on my oxycodone. And I took my aspirin for my knee for the blood clotting. And I took my Xanax. So y'all have to excuse me. I might miss some people.
Terrible.
Listen, okay, but I'm on the show. I'm in the building.
We appreciate the correction. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I don't want to be out here looking like a fool.
How about that? That's what we talking about, man. So, our topic. Our topic was a little juicy. You know what I mean? Fresh out of the oven. And you know, we're gonna have Coach probably gonna pop on, hopefully. Coach later on today, later on while we talking. But man, I want people really to chime in. I want people to chime in. And that was Coach.
You can go on Facebook, because this was the thing, right? You can go on Facebook, and then you can go and request to join in, and we can merge you in and have you on the show so that you can, you know, talk about what you need to say.
And go on Chop Chiefs TV.
Yeah, you got to do it on Facebook so that we can join you in on the call, on the live.
Yeah, going. All right, she said she's there. Okay, got you. Hold on a second. So let me go get Coach. Let me go get Coach, because I got to bring Coach in.
Yeah, because Coach gonna give it to you from From a medical perspective, okay?
Coach want to give it. Me and Coach gonna be fighting in a minute.
Oh, you're gonna listen. She done already said me and Rob. Listen, you're gonna be fighting.
Me and Coach gonna be fighting in a minute.
Absolutely.
Terrible. But like I said, man, we really got in last week when he was here, and our situation was like today. Our topic is have men lost their place in the household? And I really want brothers to chime in with me.
Please do.
I don't want to be the only brother on the hot seat because they tried to bite my head off last week. They want to bit my head off last week. I was ducking and bobbing and weaving and throwing shots. Like, I don't want to be the only cat, you know what I mean, saying what I'm saying as I'm saying what I'm saying. But have men lost their place in the household as men? You know, they always say man is the man of the house. You know what I mean? They knock on the door, it's the man of the house home. Like, it's the man of the house, and you know, he's the he's the breadwinner, he's the maintainer, he's the you know what I mean? He's this protector. He's all these situations. And now today, we have lost most of those titles. And that's not a good thing.
I'm just going to chime in and say one thing. And this is what I talked to you about a little earlier. I didn't get into what I listened to, but I came across a young lady that was on TikTok. And she was talking about pretty much the same topic. She didn't talk about were men, did they lose their place in the head, lose their place as the head of the house. But she was talking about needing a man, which we talked about, I believe, in our first show. Why is it that Black women, hey, Coach, why is it that women, Black women especially, feel like they don't need a man? Well, this young lady, you can check her out. She's on TikTok. Her name is This Yaya Lady. When y'all get a chance, she's on TikTok. And she broke it down, and it was so good. And she wasn't even trying to be deep, but she was being real practical. She said, it's not so much that we don't need them, but they don't make themselves available to be needed. And this doesn't go for all men, but she was just talking about the men that aren't showing up so that we can need them. And she was talking about, she said, back in the days when, she needed money, she would call Cheryl and get $5 for gas because Cheryl was going to give her that $5 for gas. You know what I mean? If she needed the kids picked up and she couldn't get there in time, she'll call Tata, no problem. Tata, go get the kids.
Right.
If she was going to call her baby's daddy, he wasn't going to be reliable and show up anyway. So she wouldn't even bother. She would call her dad. And she was just naming all of the different people in the village that she was able to rely on for help. And none of them seemed to be the men in her life, whether it be her boyfriend, significant other, or whatever. And she was basically saying, I shouldn't have to ask you to step up as the king, to step up as the head of the house. If you're in here with me, or you're my boyfriend, and you see trash in the garbage can, go get it. Go throw it out. If you see my car's dirty, and I'm back and forth working and I'm dealing with these kids, go get the car and take it for a car wash. I shouldn't have to ask you. And I listened to that, and I was like, you know what? She's absolutely right. Because on the first show, I did agree, and I'm not recanting my agreement, but I do have to say that there's always two sides to this thing. There's two sides to the coin. And while we shouldn't be saying, I don't need a man, because we do need them, but I have to say, are you showing up to be that man that we would even say we need? What you think about it, Coach Joy? While you eat your sandwich.
Not eating a sandwich. I'm eating cantaloupe.
Okay.
And pineapples and healthy stuff.
That's a good thing.
Because you gotta stay healthy out in these streets.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
My thing is, when the student is ready, the teacher arrives.
The teacher shows up, baby. Talk about it.
And so a lot of times when we're saying we want a man to do X, Y, and Z, they have to be in a posture of a student. The same thing as a woman. I'm not saying one side or the other, but a lot of people show up in relationships not ready to be a giver, not being ready to be a receiver. not ready to be a servant. Because in relationships, you have to be a servant. If you are getting in a relationship thinking it's all about me, my wants, my desires, and you're not thinking about the other person, it's going to be one sided. And so when you're looking at, man being his role, his place, is he teachable? Is he, because a lot of some people are stuck in their ways and they think their way is the only way of doing such things. And those who have issues with being taught or being a servant, they don't need to be in a relationship.
I'm gonna say this, right? And I'm gonna say this in the most respect, that most men haven't been raised by men, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is one side of it, because because there's been a lack of male presence in the household. So no one's there to teach that boy how to be a man. The uncle ain't there. He's in the street. He in jail, or he ain't around. The big brother ain't there. He running around the gang, or he's not even home, or whatever like that. So there's no one there to teach that child or that boy how to be a man. So only one's there to teach him whatever need to teach him is the woman. Here's the other side of the situation, that you have these women in the household, and so many of them have been into bad relationships, right? So as the young boy is growing up, all he hears is ninjas ain't ish. Nick dudes ain't about nothing. This, that, and the third. All they hear is men being badgered all his life growing up. All his life growing up in his household, his moms, her friends, her cousins, her aunts, all the ones that's been in these bad relationships, they there, and all they doing is, man, they have the men bashing circle, but he's growing up years and years and years going by hearing that. So what is he going to grow up to be? He's going to grow up to be nothing. He's going to take on those same attributes as the cat that ain't there, that ain't about nothing. Most of these, not all women, but most of them, they not saying, listen, don't grow up to be like that. Don't live like that. Don't treat women better. Blase, blase, blase. Not all women. I'm not saying all women, but a lot of them are not taking the time to tell their sons this. And then their sons get drafted into the gangs, drafted into the streets. So they grow up only knowing what the streets give them. So in their minds, they have no man that taught them how to be men. And then, before I let y'all in, there's in the not being a male figure in the house, the women don't know how to cheat. They don't know what a real man looks like. So they living in the house with no man in the house. They've been in and out of bad relationships. So they don't know what it is to be around a real man. So their daughters, their cousins come over and up. There's no real man. There's nobody there taking out the garbage. There's nobody there might clean the dishes, clean the house, do some stuff around the house, fix some stuff in the kitchen, fix some stuff in the living room, and whatever like that. There is no man there. So she don't know what a real man even looks like. So now she's dealing with a man. She don't know how to deal with a king because she never seen one. Go ahead.
You know a tree by the fruit that it bears. Period. And so not knowing, and so there's a contradiction here. So on one hand, women are the blame for why there's so many a lack of kings in society. And then you got TD Jakes talking about women are too masculine. So there's, damned if we do and damned if we don't. Because on one hand, we're too masculine, and on the other hand, we're supposed to, now men, y'all not supposed to turn hoes into housewives, but we supposed to make kings out of ex-convicts, out of somebody who doesn't have more than a third grade education, somebody who has 6 or 10 different baby mamas. So how are we to blame for all of this different calamity and different things that happen within a household?
But I never said that y'all was to blame. I said the lack of a man being there is one of the biggest blames.
But you just said that women get together and have bitching sessions and say that men ain't shit, and that we the reason why the men don't stay and all of this, so that's
no, I didn't say that. What I'm saying is, if you don't know what a man looks like, how do you know how to treat one? If you don't know what a man is supposed to do, how do you know how to treat one? A book can't tell you that. Only experience can tell you that. I don't care how many books you read. If you have an experience being with a man, learning from a man, growing in the presence of a man, then how you know how to treat a man?
You treat a man based on, if I'm just going off of basic human qualities, okay? A man is a human with an extra chromosome, okay? A woman is a woman with a X chromosome. That's on a basic level, okay? We have to start seeing each other as sacred. We've lost that. Whenever I'm entertaining a man, I don't be like, oh, he's a man and he has to do these certain things. I automatically see him as a sacred being. When you see somebody as a sacred being, you know how to treat them because your soul will treat them the way that you want your soul to be treated. So people were like,
but he hasn't been taught how to be a man. So I don't care how your soul is going to manifest the treatment, but he hasn't been taught how to be a man.
Yeah. So based on what you're saying, is that he doesn't know how to be a man because nobody taught him?
He wasn't taught by a man to be a man.
So you're saying that only a man can teach a man how to be a man?
100%.
And why is that?
It's a fact.
Why is that?
Because of man, because that's what it is. How can a woman teach a man, or you may be able to teach him some components on compassion, some components on this is the way that you should conduct yourself, but you can't teach him how to be a man because you're not one.
I've always agreed with that, but I also think that there's a balance too, because there are some things that you can teach him to help him become a better man. But no, I don't have the capacity to teach him how to be a man. I have to be honest with you. I had my grandson here with me, and I had to ask Josiah to teach Chance how to pee in the toilet by standing up. And he just turned 1. I can't teach him that. So there are some things that I can't teach him when it comes to being a man. I just don't have it. I'm not a man. But there are some things that I can teach him to become a better man. I can teach him how to be compassionate towards women. I can teach him how to love on a woman. I can teach him how to seek out good qualities in a woman by mirroring them before him. But no, I agree. I can't teach him how to be something that I'm not.
Right, you can't teach him.
So where are all these men teachers at that are supposed to be teaching other men?
What I'm saying is there is the lack. Well, that's what I'm saying.
So where they at?
The lack of.
Okay.
There was a complete lack of these individuals. They wasn't in the household.
So where was they at?
This is why the streets were able to draft the young boys into these gangs and draft them so fast, because there wasn't no man in the house to say, oh, what you doing? Hold on. Don't do that.
I know plenty of men that were there for their children, and the streets still drafted their sons into gangs. Had a house with a mom and a dad. However, functional it was. I wouldn't know, but I do know that the father and the mom was in a marriage, and they were in the household teaching these children how to grow up and be successful people. And the streets still drafted him. It happens.
Sometimes the call of the wild is a little bit stronger.
It happens.
President Company and I'm speaking from experience because I grew up in a 2-parent household. Hard-working father, hard-working mother. You know what I mean? 13, 14 kids in the house, plus other kids. I grew up in that kind of environment. You know what I mean? And if I would have followed suit to what the man was saying, I wouldn't have got into the trouble that I got into. But I went to the streets and I couldn't get the things at home that I wanted, so I went to the streets. I couldn't get the fly outfits. I couldn't get the 3 and 4, 5 pair of sneakers, and I couldn't have the money in my pocket because it wasn't there. It wasn't there, even though he taught these values, because he got up every morning and went to work. So he was the model that he got up every morning. He went to work, he brought it home, went got another job, did that. So he was the model.
Yeah, and you still, like you said, went to the streets.
The call of the streets was a little bit stronger because I got caught up in wanting materialistic things and not knowing that I had all I needed at home.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask you this.
So I was gonna go ahead because I got a question too, but go ahead.
No, you can go ahead with the question.
No, because I just wanted to know if the call to the streets is so strong, you know, is that the same rings true for when you're in a relationship? So maybe that relationship is not working, but there's something on the outside that is calling you, even though you may have a good woman at home and she may do everything, but the streets are a little, you know, you may want her to do something strange for a little piece of change. I mean, something else, you know. So if you're that rebellious as a kid, where do you learn to train yourself to be able to take care of home and not listen to the streets?
Sometimes these things don't manifest themselves until later on. You know, and again, I'm only speaking from personal experience. Like sometimes these things don't manifest themselves until later on. Like later
sometimes
on in life,
too late.
Right, sometimes too late. Sometimes later on in life, you be like this, damn, man, he was right. Damn, man, moms was right. Damn, he's right. But now you don't lost about 4 or 5 good females.
Mm-hmm.
Good, solid females. You lost them.
Because the king wasn't showing up.
King didn't go back to the playbook to really know how to be a king. Because he taught how to be a king because he was a lion. He was Simba. My father was Simba.
But somewhere along the line, like you said, the streets got a hold of you. So you didn't have kingship qualities and values and
no, they were
traits.
They were there. And
if you're not walking those things out and a woman doesn't see those qualities in you, then what is the point?
But I didn't choose to use them.
But that's fine. Yeah, no judgment. You didn't choose to use them, but you got to understand the reality of it is that, like she said, the teacher shows up when the student is ready. So it's like you expecting a woman to show you, or not to show you, but somebody to teach you like a king and to feel like she needs you, but you didn't show up as a king. And I noticed for myself in my own marriage, like I said, I've been married twice, and I can look at both of them and say, because a king didn't show up, I couldn't treat him like a king, and there couldn't be a real queen there, because I'm a wombed man, and I'm only going to give you I'm only going to multiply what you give me. You give me a seed, I give you a baby. You give me hell, I'm gonna give you hell and high water. So if you're going to give me those things that you want me to in turn be kingly, like if you want me to treat you like a king, then you're gonna have to sow some seeds into this queen. Okay, you have to find a queen. I'm gonna have to become a queen or be a queen, right? Because I might come to the table with some issues too, but that doesn't mean that I don't have queen qualities. But if you're not showing up a king, come on, bro, let's be real.
I like how you said that, because that go both ways.
It does.
Because women got some real raunchy passes. They passes real raunchy, and especially if you dealing with somebody who know about your past. Now you deal with somebody who know about your past and you trying to just brush it off. That don't mean they gonna brush it off.
Well, that's fine if he knows about my past, but we're in a relationship now. We're trying to work on, he's trying to. I'm trying to work on treating him like a king, and he's
And
trying
he's
to
trying
work
to
on
work
treating
with
me
you.
like a queen right
Exactly.
now.
So,
And if the
y'all
king
both
can't
have
show
to
up,
be
you're not gonna
flexible.
find a queen. That's just
Y'all
like I
both.
said before. If the husband doesn't show up, you're not gonna find a wife. And I could very well be a wife, but I know that with my second marriage, when he then got to cutting the fool and he wanted to run off in the streets and abandon his home and be a fool, he couldn't come home and reap the benefits of a wife. It's impossible. It's just impossible. I mean, I'm sure it can be done, and some women do it, but it won't gonna happen with me.
Yes. Some women don't know how to be wives. They wasn't taught how to be
It
wives.
goes absolutely both ways, but we're talking about kings here. That's what our topic is about, kings, and
Right.
about why aren't they kings of the home? And I'm just sending you. I'm just putting out different things, different examples as to why a man might not be able to be treated like a king in his home.
You're correct in your evaluation. You're definitely correct. And just brothers, we view things differently, right? And again, the stuff that my father taught me was always there. But again, I didn't go to the toolbox to use them. So later on in my adult years of my life, and then certain experiences pop up, I would like, damn, he said that, and I would move on that. Oh, damn, like, but it like when it comes to relationships, you know what I mean? Every man wants a woman like mom, especially when it's time to choose a wife. Every man wants if his mother, and I'm not, because all mothers wasn't wifey material.
We'll say that.
All mothers wasn't wifey material. So the ones that was, he watched moms. Moms was loving. Mom's heart was good. Mom's made sure, whatever like that. You know what I mean? He got a good rapport, whatever like that. And he's like, so now she goes to chooses a female to be his counterpart. And he's like, you know, like, nah. You know what I mean? And sometimes they bring a woman around moms to see how moms feel about it. You know, because they unable to, their instincts ain't on point, and they're not able to dissect whether this woman is a queen, whether this woman is right for them. So they rely on the source, and they go back to moms. What you think about a mom? You think she good for me, mom? What you think? You know what I mean? Because that's the only source that he got. He don't got no other source. Am I wrong? Is he wrong for that?
He better have discernment of his own. Because sometimes if he take that lady home to mama, and look at Jim Jones and his mother. Look at Jim Jones and his mama. She was crazy as a bedbug. It didn't matter what kind of woman he brought home to what was her name, Miss Pat? What was her name, Joy?
I don't forgot. Is it Miss Jackie?
I don't know what but
the
lady
was
was
just
crazy as a bedbug. And it didn't matter, Chrissy or whoever else, she was not having it because she had some old weird relationship with her son. So sometimes you can bring her home to mama and the mama still ain't got the discernment. You better have your own discernment to know if that's your queen or not.
Absolutely. And it's no longer an honor to meet parents because the parents ain't shit either. So it's just like, so
I agree.
You like, oh, I get to meet your mama, but you go meet it's just like, this is no longer an honor. You know, it used to be an honor to meet somebody's parents.
To meet moms now,
you
right,
know, to meet somebody's dad or their grandparents, even, you know what I'm saying? Because it's a part of who they are. And then a lot of times, just like Stanley's talking about, a lot of men do pick women, and women do too, based off of the trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And because
like Mr. Staley said, that's why I agree with his comment.
Yeah, they are bonding over a trauma. That's why a lot of what is silent in the parents shows up in the child. And so whatever your mom was dealing with, whether she was dealing with abandonment or rejection or some kind of form of loneliness or depression, it will show up in that child. I can tell you what my mom was dealing with based on what I was dealing with in my lifetime, because it's a cycle. It's cyclical. And so until you address those traumas, being able to meet somebody's parents or whatever, and you're going to pick a parent based on what you're comfortable with. So if you are picking somebody, you know, and your comfortability is, you know, you grew up around, everybody was addicted to something, whether it was pills or pussy or dick, whatever the addiction was. And so you pick based off of that addiction. So are you picking based off of your destiny, or are you picking based off of what you are accustomed to? And so it takes some therapy, and it takes some time to be able to, you know what, I'm going to pick something that's good for my destiny, not for just my right now, but something that is going to help me flourish in the future. And not everybody is built to amplify and to build with. Some people are just for right now.
I agree.
Have you been the cause of, Coach? Have you been the cause of a failed relationship?
Have I been the cause?
Yes.
Yes.
Why?
I am I don't do well with people who don't catch on quick. I used to have very little patience. Very little patience. I don't give a lot of grace. If we have a conversation on Wednesday and I say, babe, the trash is getting out of hand. You know, it's overflowing. This is just an example. By Saturday and the trash still hasn't been taken out, I completely shut down because I feel like you're being dismissive. We done stayed up until the wee hours of the night. We done fasted and prayed, and nothing has changed. And you continue to walk past the trash like it doesn't matter. So me not being able to give grace, me not being patient, me not being honest, is I have to take accountability for that. I have to learn how to see people for who they are and not what I want them to be. That is my biggest thing is I would date based on potential. Well, they have the potential to be a king. They have a potential to be a husband, but they have not shown themselves to be a husband or a king. This is something that I have fantasized about, but they have not submitted an application to be a husband or a king. They want you to treat them as such. It's like somebody who wants to get, you know, health benefits from a job that they're now no longer working at. If you're not employed with this woman, because relationships is a full-time job. If you're not employed in this relationship and you're not clocking in every day, you're not going to get the benefits of it.
Absolutely.
I agree. Definitely. If you're not clocking in every day,
showing up,
how you going to receive the benefits? I agree
with
you.
Right. It's no call, no show. I'm leaving you because
getting fired quick. Oh yeah.
Real quick. Because we have to, I think that's a lot of relationships because we've been raised on Disney. I think a lot of times we fantasize what we want people to be instead of what they actually are. And we have to get out of this mindset that people are going to come in on a chariot and pick you up.
Right.
Your Prince Charming may be in aluminum foil with a glow stick. And
I'm dead.
And you just gonna have to deal with it. So he may not be on a chariot. You know, he may be in a hoopty or Astro van. Who knows?
Well, we have to be, us, these individuals, men and women, have to be honest with ourselves. It's like, like, if it ain't there, it ain't there. And if you ain't the one, you just ain't the one. So don't badger him because you're not the one. You know what I mean? He may be coming into himself, and you just high on your hog, thinking that you something special, and you ain't special.
You're absolutely right. That's why I said it goes both ways. Yeah, because I've come into relationships broken as a fuck, and expecting kingship qualities from a man, and he probably did have a lot of kingship qualities, but he couldn't those things couldn't be manifested because a queen wasn't showing up. A broken bird was showing up. So it goes both ways.
With the one wing.
One, okay?
One
a wing and a
wing,
prayer.
A wing and a prayer. And a lot of times you have to be realistic when you're entering into relationships, because it's unrealistic to want to be in a relationship with somebody who is like your mother.
Yes, Mr. Staley. Go ahead. I'm sorry for interrupting. I'm just reading comments.
Yeah, so it's like that's unrealistic, because nobody can be your mother. You can expect your woman to mother you. That is unrealistic, and that will tear a relationship apart quicker than it gets started. Now, do you want your woman to nurture you and to care for you? Absolutely, but she cannot be your mother. She cannot. You cannot enter back into her womb and she push you out and she becomes your mother.
Mm.
And the same is true for women. We cannot, a lot of women, because we don't have relationships with our fathers, we do go out and look for somebody who can provide fatherly guidance and attributes, things like that. But that's unrealistic, because this man,
women got daddy issues.
He cannot be your father.
Right. He
and a lot of times,
daddy issues.
And I was going to say, a lot of times, especially for me, I didn't have a present dad. You know, he was hardly there. I might have saw him a handful of times in my whole, childhood. And positive or negative, I think that little girls are always going to find a husband or a boyfriend like their dad. Positive or negative. And right. I think a lot of times, and I can speak for myself, I always would find unavailable men that I felt like I needed to, not so much chase, but prove that I was good enough for you to love me. And that comes from my daddy issues. So even if they weren't shit, your daddies weren't shit, you still are trying to, that little girl in you is still trying to find a man like your daddy so that you can, daddy, I was deserving of your love. You know what I mean?
I told this one chick, she got a son, right? And I told her, I said, you dress your son, you fix his hair up like the dude that you looking for in the street. I said, I watch how you dress your son every day when you go out. You know, she be online. I said, I watch how you dress your son, and you want him to have long braids. You want him to wear this and you want to wear that. I said, you try to dress your son like the man or the boy that you looking for in the streets. I said, you know, and then you keep going after the same kind of fool. Knowing his handle. You know his handle. You know what his capabilities are. You know what his limitations are. You know what his cat is. But you keep going after one relationship after one relationship after one relationship. You keep going after the same guy.
Because people are stuck on a type. They look for a type. There's always a type. Now, are there certain types that you should be attracted to? Of course. But when you look at the core value of who you are, what are you attracting? Because I coach people, do therapy, and every time we sit down to talk about relationships, there is a specific behavior type that they are attracted to. A lot of it is abusive. And they search out these abusive relationships because that's a form of love to them. They find comfort in the dysfunction. And then also that's what they grew up around. So it's really hard to break those patterns, especially if you grew up in an abusive, dysfunctional family relationship. And so her dressing her son like somebody that she wants to be with or whatever, that's a specific pattern. And she's doing that based on either consciously or subconsciously, that she feels as though this is what I'm attracted to. And this is what I want my son to look like because this is what I'm attracted to. And she really needs to check that, because it's just like, if this relationship is not working. Now, if she was dressing this little boy like his daddy, and he had on some hard bottom shoes and some suspenders and some nice creased pants and a white button down shirt, okay, fine. If that's his father, but you just dressing him like random um boys on the corner that's selling Percocets, that's not cute.
Let me say, because this is how the game is played, right? This is how the game is played. So the woman finds this individual, and the individual sees the type of woman this woman is. So he shows his best mask to her. He's doing all the things necessary to lock her in. And in the process, he gets her to separate herself from her friends, from her family, from her people, and puts in her mind that I'm the only one that you need to depend on. I got you, this, that, and third. You don't need to, da, 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 da. So in the process, she draws back from her friends. She draws back from her peoples. She draws back from everybody, and it's just him and her. And then he begins the abuse. Now, she can't ring the alarm because she done bigged him up in everybody else's eyesight to be the Statue of Liberty. So now she can't even go back to these people and say, he's beating on me, he's hurting me, because you done ostracized your friends. You don't know what you're talking about. That's my man, and you mad because you ain't got no man.
Yeah.
But now in the household, he's doing Mike Tyson to her, punch-out game, and choking her and all kind of stuff. And now she's sitting in the house like, what am I going to do? Like, how do I get out of this hole that I put myself in? How do I get out this hole? I told the chick, I said, I don't care who the man is, but you always let a dude know that you got a loose gorilla that'll hurt him if he violate me. You always, I said, I don't care in whatever position you in.
Yeah.
I don't care how much you love this dude. You always let him know that I got a brother, a cousin, or something that will come split you down to the white meat. Never touch me.
Coach and I were talking about the same thing.
Never violate me.
Last week.
Women don't do that. They believe I got it. But you ain't got it because you can't beat no man.
Who?
You can't beat no man.
Talking about a woman. Coach at home. I will wear him loose.
Not only did he play the physical game on you, but all along while he played a mental game on you. So you're not even raising your hands to him because you jive ass afraid of him.
Who?
I ain't saying that, but I know grown women.
I do too. I counsel them every day.
This game been played on, and when they come out of it, they be like, you know what, Rob? I don't tell them they go through it. They be like, Rob, you know what? I'll never do that again.
And then there's some of them like me that'll pull that Glock out that safe and spray the whole house up.
Shake the table. Do you hear what I say? Listen.
Because a push, a shove becomes a choke, then becomes a slap, then it becomes a punch.
Yeah.
And when step number 1 and 2 take place, then he might get a nick to his lung with that kitchen knife. And I'm talking about real shit.
If you're strong enough and mentally and heart, because you may be.
It takes strength. It takes strategy. I'm running right around that house to that kitchen because I see what's coming.
Some weak women don't want to be alone. And
that's true.
They allow these things to go on because they don't want to be alone.
Now you talking real, because I would say 12 of my 22 clients, when I asked them why did they stay, and that's the worst question to ask anybody who is leaving out of domestic violence situation, but I want them to be able to hear what comes out of their mouth. And they will always say, I didn't want to be alone. And I just be like, so let's really look at this. What decisions did you make based on loneliness? Why did you become and so desperate to keep somebody who showed that they did not value you?
Become a
You know what I'm
prisoner
saying?
become a prisoner in your own home.
And then because I deal with domestic violence on a regular basis, a lot of these relationships, you got to look at it. It's financial because a lot of them will take the money. They
Right.
won't let the women work.
That's right.
And if they do keep they do have a job, they end up locking up the accounts. They don't give them a debit card. A lot of this is spiritual because if they are married, they use the Bible. You can't leave me. You can't divorce me because God hates divorce. They'll use the Bible against them. And then also, a lot of these men will continue to keep impregnating the woman because it makes it harder for them to leave if she got 6 children to try to escape too, because then it becomes an Underground Railroad situation.
Ain't nobody gonna want you. Where you going? You got all them kids.
You got all the kids.
Ain't nobody gonna want you.
It's very, very mental, and a lot of it. One of the first things narcissistic people do is separate you from the people that you love.
That's right. Mr. Staley touched on that in a comment. He talked about narcissistic men and women, and it's so true.
That's the first thing that they do. Anybody who the first thing they want to holler is, let me see your phone. Let me see. Who are you talking to? I'm talking to my mama. Why are you talking to your mama? Because I want to.
Why you telling your mama my business?
Right. And it's just like, and then because they were like, if you love me, you wouldn't go X, Y, and Z. And it's just like, but do you love yourself? You know what I'm saying? And so it's a hard reality for a lot of people who get into these situations because relationships, especially relationships after the age of 20, is for grown people. Okay. You need to be grown mentally because anybody can get sex anywhere they want to get it from. Okay. You can it's sex. Okay, fine. If you know how to hunch good and you know, fine, you get a gold star.
You
But
gonna go online and order like on Grubhub.
Yeah. You get a gold star. But how are you taking care of yourself mentally?
Let me say this to both of y'all. After going through that kind of relationship, after going through that kind of mental stress and mental abuse, how can you even see if a man is a king?
One, because if you see that you got to know who you are first. You got to know who you are. And once you've dealt with a lot of counterfeits, that's why, have you ever been in a bank? They don't have you studying fake money. They have you studying real money.
Real money. So you can recognize the fake.
So you can recognize when the fake ones come in.
You just went through a 3-year Holocaust with this dude. He really laid it on you. And now you finally got from under his grips. You finally got from out of his grip. So now you really not even in no position to even look for another man because first you got to heal your own wounds.
You do. That's what therapy is for.
You should.
But people don't do that. They find therapy in trying to be sexual.
And that ain't it.
That's not it.
That ain't it.
You got to clear your mental. You got to heal those mental abrasions. And also on a soul level, your soul ain't right. You have no business. I think, and this is just me, okay? This is just me talking as a clinician. I think that anybody who's been in a relationship for more than 6 months and you've been in a relationship for 6 months or greater, if that relationship happens to end, you need to take 6 months to a year to be selfish and only worry about yourself. Care about your own self. Care about your own body, your own mind, your own soul. Go to therapy, sit and talk to trees. I don't care what you do, but you don't need to take all of that trauma and drama into another relationship. That's not healthy and it's not good for humanity at all. I see a lot of people, especially my women that are in the shelter, the first thing they do, they get there, they done sign paperwork. They ain't even out of orientation good. And they is kikiing on the phone with somebody else.
Yep.
Ma'am, please go fill out an application for churches and stop worrying about what this man is doing.
Man, let me tell you something. That's where brothers hang out at around the shelter. Because some of the weakest minds are right there, so they hang around the shelter.
I know they do.
The weakest mind
and they catch the bus with the women.
Wounded individuals.
And so I just my thing is, and we tell the women that right now you are very vulnerable. You are like prey, and they are sharks, and they are just swarming around, and
they just driving around the spot. And Kev, you look in their eye one time, you're done.
And I just feel like, listen, do not fall victim. You need to work on yourself. We allow the women at the shelter, they get 4 to 8 months to be at the shelter. So they got a good amount of time to kind of get themselves together. You don't have any time to be trying to find another relationship. Your children do not deserve another stepdaddy. Please focus on yourself. It's so hard for people to just focus on themselves.
Yeah.
You have to find yourself as a worthy cause to be focused on.
Here go the flip side. So the female finds a dude, she's with a dude, and she feels like she's got to overcompensate in order to keep him. She buys him stuff. She gives him money. She go out and work and take it, and he don't work. He home. He playing the video games, whatever like that. But he's every bit of the type of the guy who she's been looking for. So all the bad stuff that's in this joint, she don't even address. She wants to keep him in the house. She wants to keep him around. So she does everything she can do to keep him there.
That's low self-esteem.
Without question. But he knows this.
Mm-hmm.
He knows what's going on. You know what I mean? So like now him coming out of that kind of relationship, he's looking for another sugar mama. He's looking for another chick to take care of him. He done suppressed or forget about trying to be a man or trying to be the man of the house or trying to be an alpha in the situation. He's looking for another chick to take care of him, to lay up on.
Absolutely.
And it becomes a pattern.
And I see that a lot, especially with some men that just they believe that they need to be taken care of. They feel as though it's not 50-50. It's more like 100% on you, and I'm zero liability for me. And so that's not gonna work for me. Whenever I see a man that's like that, they are trying to overcompensate for themselves. It's like you don't have something. Either you're lazy, or you have some type of mental illness, or you have some kind of addiction that you are covering up.
Yeah.
And the reason why you want my coins and the reason why you want my time, two low self-esteem people always find each other.
Right.
They always find each other. Oh. Two addicts will always find each other. That's why people who are dope fiends, they love the hell out of each other. They are never gonna break up. They will stay together forever.
Mm-hmm. What is the job of a man? What is the job of a man? What do you think, Rob?
It's a long list. That's a long list because it's a lot going on. So it's a long list because and it's gonna be a fight. And what I'm saying is that society, what TD Jake said the other day, stop raising our women to be men. So
I'm sick of him.
Here's a man. Here's a man trying to be a man, but the woman's independence is getting all in the way of that. He's not trying to take away from you. He's trying to be what he's supposed to be in the household. Allow him to be. If he's an alpha, don't take that away from him. Don't shut that part of him down. He's not trying to
Pentecostal finger.
He's not trying to And I'm gonna let you go. I'm just like, this is where coming at us knowing our places in the household, in the ramification, in the parameters of the house. What is your place? And when men say that, women get super offensive. We talk about what place. This ain't no Stone Age. I ain't supposed to be behind the stove cooking meals all the time. But I'm asking, but it's a question because in the parameters of the home, what is your place? Man and woman, what is your place? Traditionally, it's one way, but socially, it's another way.
I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to tell you the truth. When he steps up as a man, he going to get the best part of me. And that's just what it is. That's just what it's always been for me. When he steps up as a man, I got Stilly saying, provide, protect, spiritual guidance is as simple as it gets. And that's the truth. Protect me because that's your job. Provide. That's your job. That is your job as a man. A lot of men don't want these new age men provide. You need to be bringing something to the table too. Listen, you are a provider, and it doesn't just mean financially a providence, but you are a provider. This is naturally how you were created. You understand what I'm saying? When you show up, coming to the table as you're supposed to come to the table, women will naturally submit to that. That's a hot word, boy, because
that's right. It's a hot word. Men, say it again. Say it
again. And men do not really understand what the term submit means.
Well, you'll lose your female card. Talk about that word.
And I don't give a damn. Because if I had more time, we've been on an hour, but I can get on to it next week. What submission really means, but it's really so simple. The best relationship is the relationship where all you want to do is outlove one another.
That's it. Out honor one another.
It's almost like a contest, but not in a kind of way. But it's almost like he's loving on me, and I'm like, God damn, that turned me on so much. That's my foreplay right there. You treat me right. You want to show me acts of service and kindness and care. You know what I mean? You giving me quality time and you attending to my love language. All I want to do is get into what your love language is, and I want to outdo you in love. And that's real submission. Because you're submitting, you know, I'm not going to talk about religion because that's a whole other subject. But the Bible talks about, to those who ascribe to it, the Bible talks about submitting to one another. One another. It's not just man to woman, but one another. Because you'll find a balanced, wonderful, loving relationship when you do that.
But you hear what you just said, and I just want to say this, right? And I'm not, but you hear what you said? If he shows this, if he shows that, if he shows this, he shows that, then I will be the submissive chick. You see the card that y'all play? Like, he gotta go all the way this way before you be who you're supposed to be.
That's not what I said. That's not what I meant. That is what I said. I led off with him, but that's because I'm a woman. So I'm not saying I shouldn't lead off with me. I'm saying we're talking about, our topic is treat the man like a king. Right, can he be a king in the household? So that's why I said, if you showing up as a king, you won't get a queen.
But
you wanted to know
what pointing that out. I only pointed out because so many females, if he's not this, if he's not that, if he's not that, then I'm not going to be so and so. But no, it goes both ways.
It goes both ways.
You gotta be the queen bee too.
I always say that. If you're looking for a husband and you're a single woman, you have to behave yourself as a wife. If you are looking for a husband, if the Bible says he finds a wife, he don't find a girlfriend and then you become a wife. He finds a wife and he finds a good thing. So I am completely all in when it comes to that. You have to already be practicing and be putting into practice what you want, because you only are going to attract who you are. So if you are a hoe, you want to attract one whole ass Negro. You understand what I'm saying? Right. If you're a wife, you're going to attract a husband. So that's why I said,
Coach, the parameters of the home, you got traditional and you got today's social media situation. What is a male and female position Because they want to fight with that word. What is the
They're gonna fight.
position?
They're gonna fight about what?
The word position.
Submission.
What's your position in the traditional home? It used to be one way.
Okay.
Today is another way because women are so independent that they don't need certain situations. So they've removed themselves from the traditional ways that women are supposed to be in a home to today is different.
Well, because what I've seen, okay, about positions, which fluctuate from home to home. No two homes are the same. What I've seen is more people leaning towards 50-50 on everything. If the man pays the mortgage, the woman's gonna pay the car insurance. If the man pays for the groceries, she's gonna cook. You know what I'm saying? So it's a 50-50 split. It's not the woman takes care of the household and the man goes out to work. That's traditional. That in this economy, you need a 2-income, maybe 4-income, because everybody needs to be working at least 2 jobs because this economy is crazy. So that's what I've seen. I think there just has to be a respect for whatever you do bring into that household. So if you are a stay-at-home mom, because the stay-at-home moms get a bad rap. They think that all you doing is sitting at home, eating bonbons, and watching stories all day. When they tallied up all the work that a single stay-at-home mom does, her work alone is worth over $1 million per year because all the cooking, the cleaning, the raising and rearing of children, things of that nature, that stuff adds up. So traditionally, there are a lot of households that are 50-50. However they work that out, that's on them. I don't see a lot of traditional households anymore because people can't afford it.
But there's a lot of women today that believe that they don't want to pay no bills. They want men to do it all. And that's just not realistic. I'm not going to be with no dude if he can't pay all the bills. We got a house and he's got to pay all the bills. Like, that's not realistic today. That's not realistic today. On the dime that a man is making, that's not realistic today. So you got to snap out of that. So you bypass this man who's working hard, trying to do what he got to do, and you still chasing the unicorn.
My thing is, for me, okay, I'm not saying that he has to pay all of the bills, but the majority of it, because until I start making the same as a man, because right now, even in this 2022, nope.
Women make more than
nope. Absolutely not.
Are you kidding me?
No, because we still only make 78 cents to every dollar that a man makes.
Stop it.
Still. Go look at the last report.
Next week I'm gonna pull up some.
Pull it up because I'm telling you, even in 2019 when they did the last study, okay, women were still not making as much, doing the same job as a man. We do not make the same amount of money. We do not. It's still discrimination based on gender. Go ahead and get your Google fingers together because I see you over tipping and tapping. Pull it up.
Y'all done made me pull my light out.
Yeah.
Y'all done got me so upset.
Pull it up.
Jesus have mercy.
Understand the meaning of what it means to be submissive and understand it to do not mean to be controlled by a king, but to know their role of a queen.
What is this? A woman have to understand the meaning of what it means to be submissive and understand. I think that both of us should know what our role is as a king and a queen.
Not if it hasn't been taught.
Well, sometimes you're absolutely right. It hasn't been taught. But there comes a real place in your life, because there's a lot of things that I haven't been taught as a woman and as a mom. That is now my responsibility to get up off my ass, get in some counseling sessions, maybe even some psychotropic medications because I had a traumatic past, and get into my parenthood so that my children can be whole and they don't have to go through what I went through.
But
so there is a place where you have to get up and learn how to be a queen, even if it wasn't taught.
Even if it wasn't taught.
Same thing for a man with being a king.
We have that age of understanding that we figured that out. I'm talking about the 20-year-old woman right now.
And 20, that's my job. And that's my job as an auntie.
30 years old, they can't cook.
That's my job as an auntie.
And that's why I said it takes a village. It takes
a village because I talk to my niece every day almost. Every day.
When did we stop being a village?
And
some of us still are.
Some of us still are because I had my godchildren today.
Coach, they're not looking for y'all to teach them though.
And I'm thankful for my godchildren. And I'm thankful that their parents trust me.
I'm gonna teach them anyway.
But to be a part of the village, we lost the village mindset when people started being hyper independent and be like, you know what, I want to raise my kids on my own dime. Once we became a part of this Western society, because they don't do this back over in East
at all.
There's if you look in the African language, there is no term for auntie. Everybody's ma. Everybody's ma.
Absolutely.
There's no auntie term.
You talking.
When you go to the village, if somebody sees that your child is hurt, they're gonna run and go see about that child because that child belongs to the village.
That's right.
Belongs to the village, not just to the woman that birthed it. Because when you bring that child into the village, it belongs to the village.
That's right.
See, but in the village is different in the village because.
But we can bring that same village mindset here because I have that village mindset and I have a lot of godchildren.
Mm-hmm.
And I will mommy all of them because there are times where their moms can't do, and it's not necessarily they don't want to do, but they really haven't learned it like we've been talking about. So they can't give them certain things. And so sometimes I have to sit and listen to stuff I'm not even interested in because I have to let them know that their voice is important. They have a voice and I'm interested in what's going on in their life. But you know what I'm saying?
You're fighting against the biggest situation. You're fighting against social media. You're fighting against that. Yes, you are. As a woman and trying to teach and raise your kids and give them some understanding, you're fighting against not only social media, but the other ratchetness that's out here in the streets. You got a battle because she walking around with her ass out. She walking around humping and dumping.
Not all the time. Not all of them. Not all of them.
And not all of them. And social media.
A lot of them.
It's not
a lot of them, but not all of them.
It's not all of them. And once again, you got to correct them. And so in the society, the village is single women raising boys and girls. It is a lot of single women. And there are a lot of men that are MIA. And that's one thing I try to do is empower men. I have a lot of cousins, male cousins, and they always call me because when it's time to go to court, they always ask for my advice because, baby, I know how to win a case, okay? And so they call me and say, you know, what do you think about this and what do you think about that? And they feel so disempowered, you know, as a father, especially in Georgia and Tennessee. If you do not legitimize your children, you don't have any rights. You have none. So in certain states, if you are married, then that is seen as your child. Marriage signifies that is your child. Even though people do cheat, I'm not saying that. But in the eyes of the state, if you're married and y'all go to the hospital and you sign the birth certificate, that is your child. But if you out here and you got 6 or 7 different baby mamas and you have not taken a DNA test, that child does not belong to you. And so think about what that does to a psyche of a man when he's putting clothes on their back, shoes on their feet, taking them to school, sitting in the drop-off line when it's 100-degree weather, and you tell me that is not my child because I didn't take a DNA test?
Why didn't he sign the paper?
Even if you sign the papers, you don't have any rights to that child.
Or only with the DNA?
Only with the DNA.
See, we from New York. Well, me and Rob from New York. And when you sign
Right.
it, it's parental papers that you sign along with, put your name and birth certificate. If y'all are not married, you sign these
You're the father.
papers, these specific separate papers saying that you're going to sign, saying that you're the parents, like an affidavit. You're the dad.
Nope. Doesn't work like that in Georgia
Without a test.
or Tennessee.
Wow.
So a lot of these fathers feel disempowered. They feel like they don't have a voice.
Yeah.
And so that's why there is an imbalance in a lot of these villages, because fathers feel as though I don't have a voice, I don't have any rights, I don't have, even though this kid got the same forehead as me, and you telling me that this is not my child because we did not go on Maury and Maury did not tell me that this is my son.
How about that?
I don't have any rights. And a lot of women know that, and they will use that against them. They will say, well, this is not your son, this is not your kid, this is not this. And so we have to stop weaponizing our children and using them to weaponize and hurt somebody else.
How about that? And that's what a lot of women do.
We got to stop it.
That's
because
not
you're just hurting the kids. You're just hurting the kids.
Right.
And how can we know our place as men and women if we are weaponizing and warring against each other?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we have declared war. I declare war on the next man, the next woman, the next this. We haven't learned to work together, and that's what they enjoy. We have to be able to work together. Yes, to be a queen or whatever, but how can we just learn how to cooperate? As Black people, that's one of the major things, a part of Kwanzaa, a part of our Black indigenous people is cooperation, community, working together.
How about that? How about that? And that's a fact. That's a fact. We really have to try. We got to bridge the gap. We got to bridge the gap, and we got 2 ears and 1 mouth to do a whole lot more listening, a lot less speaking, and then we got to do a lot more action. We got to take back our homes from the government.
Yeah, we do.
We have to take back our homes from the government. Like, once you sign on and let the government in your house, you kick the man out.
Yeah. Oh, that was the whole big thing back in the 60s. Exactly. And it's very true today. A lot of people depend on the government to, a lot of it is, when they started that back in the 50s and the 60s, what they did was planted a seed of poverty. Mm-hmm. And that poverty turned into a poverty consciousness. Mm-hmm. And a hyper dependence on the government.
And a separation of the families.
And a separation.
Because they would help mothers and children. But the men, they had to go.
In the 60s, strong Black men in the 60s. And society knew the way to break that is to get them to, here go food stamps. Here go free food. Here go free lunch. But in order for you can't get this if you got a man in your house.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and they did that with housing too.
Absolutely.
They will tell you that you cannot, we will give you this HUD voucher, but you can't have no man living up in here. You have women scrambling to hide his shoes, to hide his clothes. They put the juke cologne up, and they came and did them inspections. I mean,
yes. Come on now, you talking.
You watch Claudine. That's
so they did these inspections. Think about that. They inspected your life because they done gave you some money that they dangling in front of your face.
That's right.
And it ain't even a whole lot.
And it's not a whole lot. You get what I'm saying? A lot of it don't have no AC. A lot of it, and when they did the studies on the children that grew up in these homes, okay, their IQ was, I think, 15 points lower because of all the shootings, because of all the rat and mouse infestations, the fact that there was a lot of people living in that household as well. So these things are not. And they were talking about it today. There's a family in the Georgia that they can grandfather, they can pass on their HUD vouchers to the next generation.
Damn.
So it's like the great great grandmother had it. She passed on the HUD house to her great grand. Like it was one generation after the next. So it's just like this whole lineage of this family has lived in this one HUD Section 8 house for generations.
Mm-hmm.
What is that to pass on? You know what I'm saying?
That's one of the ways that we have to. This is one of the ways that we have to get our relationship stable again. We first got to take our homes back, because if we're trying to strengthen our relationship, man and woman together, and build a relationship and build a tight home we first got to take our homes back. We got to take our homes back, and once we take our homes back, then we can then now me and you can now start to build a home the way it's supposed to be, because we got this guy other cat outside on, because he got 2 men in the house.
Well, that's the thing is that
me, Uncle Sam, both of us trying to live in a house together with you.
Yeah, well, there's a such thing as homosexuals. It's these homeless men that are just looking for somebody with a Section 8 voucher so they can lay up in her house until it's time for another inspection, and then he gets out. A lot of these men don't have a place to go, so they're just looking for somewhere to lay up. And a lot of times it's the women with that Section 8 vouchers that'll let you lay up, because you can't lay up in here.
And that system was set up, like you said, back in the 50s and 60s when the women set up the welfare system back then.
Yeah.
And that they reinforced.
Women set up the welfare system?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was white women. It was white women.
It was white women.
Yeah. Yeah. And thinking about the whole subject about, can we allow y'all to come and be kings of the home? We were always taught, and that was always reinforced, that no, you weren't allowed to be in the home, or we technically didn't need the help, because the mindset is that you should be working and providing for us. So why would we allow you or why would the government allow you in a house to reap the benefits of the government benefits instead of going out to work? So it kind of reinforced that we didn't need you if you weren't doing enough.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. It really is. I understand the concept of what they meant, that you should be working and not laying around playing video games, smoking weed all day. I get it. But it still reinforces, and even subconsciously, that you shouldn't be in the home with us. And we need you there.
How about that? We got to shut it down. You know what I mean? This was very informative.
Absolutely.
And this was, you know, we got to go back and jump back in this. You know what I mean? This was very informative, and it was some good talk. It was some good talk.
What, Ron? Really? You talking about this some good talk, and then you gonna post this question and be like,
somebody sent that in,
and then you just go. We're gonna get off of here.
Somebody yell next time. Repost that question.
Yeah.
That's something we're gonna have to talk about next week, because that's a whole other
situation.
A whole other issue. Okay.
Listen, we appreciate.
Absolutely.
We appreciate. We appreciate it, man. We had some good talk. We had some good talk, man. Today was good. We be back next week, Coach.
Yeah.
We'll share the fruit. Don't eat it while we watch it. That's all I'm talking about. If you ain't gonna share the fruit, don't be chomping on it.
Then don't eat it.
Listen,
because I'm hungry. Okay.
Yeah, I'm hungry as hell right now.
Yeah. Yo, that's the only thing I've been able to keep down is some fruit. I can't even eat nothing else.
We appreciate everybody chiming in.
Yes.
You know, D1, we appreciate you, man. Your comments were valid. We appreciate everybody in on the situation. We see y'all next week. We hope that we gave individuals something to think about.
Absolutely.
We hope we gave y'all some food for thought. Mo, take them out of here, Mo.
Hey.
We be back next week. Same bad time, same bad channel. Coach, we appreciate you.
Yes.
We out of here.
Hey.